listen, I'm not, you know I don't like to say that I'm prophesying, but I'm not afraid to say or ashamed to say that I prophesied the conflict that is now arising between President Trump and his daughter Ivanka and her husband Judeo-Christian. But I just read Ivanka on Judge today. For whatever reason, Ivanka is very pro-climate change. Her husband, Judeo-Christian, who is probably a multimillionaire in his own right, he's inherited the family fortune. He is very pro-climate change, And, you have to ask yourself, why are these people pro the climate change agenda? Do they really believe this, or does it have to do with the money that they're making? Because there's big money involved in believing in climate change. Why do you think Google and Facebook and Amazon are all for it? We're talking about big money. Brethren, it's always about the money. If you want to look for someone who's promoting an agenda because of righteousness, you need a magnifying glass to find the people that are promoting any kind of agenda because of righteousness. It's all about the money, at the expense and the cost of the people, of the average person like you and me that just want to live and have some quality of life and raise their children and want their children to have some quality of life. It's at our expense, and they become multimillionaire and a multimillionaire aristocracy that manipulates the masses. That's what it comes down to. Why? Because the nature of man is fallen. So President Trump, as a campaign speech, has said that he would pull us out of this accord. They're denying that. You see, the UN is in it too. Do you need more of a witness than that it's no good? So the UN has been, for years now, has been promoting a series of treaties that basically they're forcing on the nations of the world in exchange for money and other forms of benefits. And these treaties, they're designed to destroy nationalism and bring in this global community that I just described to you. Well, they're denying that the Paris Accord is a treaty. They're calling it the Paris, I just said the name after that, the Paris Climate Change Accord. They're denying that's a treaty, but I understand that it is a treaty, and that if President Trump signs it, it will be the end of America as we know it. If you really examine it and understand what it's really about, there's all fine print. If you sign on to it, you have to agree to this, you have to agree to that, you have to agree to that, and it's the end of America as we know it, it's all over. So the headline in Drudge this morning was saying that he's going to pull us out. And all of these big names are against him doing that, including his daughter Ivanka, who was advising him. Who is Ivanka? She's a citizen like we are, who has done some research on it, and I don't know why she's for it. Is it because of her husband, Judeo-Christian, who has all kinds of money involved in businesses and whatever his interests are? I don't know. Don't assume. I don't know Ivanka Trump. I'm not saying anything against her. I'm just telling you, don't assume that the daughter is the father. Don't assume that the daughter has the values of the father. I happen to have a lot of respect for President Trump. I'm not looking at the mistakes that he has made. I'm looking at his motives. I see a man who is a patriot, who really wants to help this country. I see a multimillionaire who really has a heart for the common man. He really wants to help us and the country. Okay? Don't assume that his daughter has the same heart. She's a New York City liberal. And aside from that, she's married to a New York City liberal whose father spent 2 years in jail, a multimillionaire. He spent 2 years in jail for some kind of machinations that he was involved in. Don't be naive, brethren. God's people have to grow up. Don't be naive. And I prophesied from this pulpit that President Trump's day of making, I told you that when he arrives at this conflict with his beloved daughter, and from what I understand, they are very close, and I haven't heard her called his favorite, but there are all indications that she's his favorite. They're very close. When this day of decision comes, that he has to choose his daughter or what he believes to be right. It's going to be the making of the man. It's going to be a tremendous conflict for him, tremendously painful. And the result of it is that he's going to have a tremendous born-again experience. Because what it comes down to, either he's going to cleave to God or he's going to cleave to Ivanka. That's what it's going to come down to. Right now it looks like she is his Antichrist, or one of them. So, it is my understanding, I am no expert on climate change, but it is my understanding it is not good for this country. And it is not good for any country. It is good for the elitists, the globalists that want to make themselves gods and us their servants. So this is my prayer, that President Trump should understand the Lord's opinion. He should understand what the opinion is of the Lord Jesus Christ, and that he should choose that opinion. So that is my prayer for President Trump. And not that he makes a decision based on what I believe is right, but that he makes a decision based upon a knowledge of what the Lord Jesus Christ says is right. Because, brethren, if you make a choice, because either I think it's right, or you have a revelation that the Lord thinks it's right, but you don't study it and digest it and grow your own opinion, if you don't do that, anyone could come along and knock you out of that opinion. If you have an opinion because you read it somewhere, it's not your opinion. It's not yours, you see. You have to have your own opinion based upon the opinion of the Lord, which is based upon your understanding of what he's talking to you about. I want to pray for President Trump. And I'm so happy, if you can hear this, that I see his day of reckoning approaching. I don't know Ivanka Trump. Will she be mad at him if he doesn't take her advice? Will she be cold to him? Will she punish him? Will she try to manipulate him? I don't know. I don't know. See? But I have a lot of respect for President Trump. My personal opinion is he will stay with God if he could just hear from God. If the Lord could just get through to him, he will make the right choice. I don't doubt that for a second. The danger is a lack of understanding. You know? I think he'll overcome the emotional pull of even his beloved daughter. So I'm waiting for my prophecy to come to pass, that this conflict that President Trump is having with his daughter, where I hope she's not using undue influence, but even if she's not using undue influence, he does not want, brethren, we do not want to disagree with someone that we love. Because when you disagree with someone, it changes your relationship. What I'm telling you is that if he pulls us out of the Paris Accord, there has to be a little tear in that relationship with Ivanka. And that's what she put on the line when she agreed to, or even suggested to the president, that she should be involved in politics and in the White House, whosever idea that was. You know? This is the danger, see. I pray with all my heart and soul that his ears are open to the opinion of the Lord Jesus Christ, and that he receives all of the strength and support, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, physical, everything that he needs to shore up his guts, to do the right thing, because the whole world, the power structure of the whole world is against him, including his own silly people here in America that are being manipulated. But you elected him, Lord. You raised him up. You birthed him for this. You raised him. You groomed him. You taught him. You made him into the man that he is. You raised him up. You elected him. He's been standing against all odds for 5 months now. Forget about the campaign. He's your man, Lord. Help him. Help him to hear what he needs to hear, and strengthen him to do the right thing. And I most humbly break every remnant of an ungodly soul tie between President Trump and Ivanka and Jared Kushner and everyone else in that crazy White House, what's going on there today. I break those ungodly soul ties. I strip them of all of their power. And I attach that man, our president, even more strongly to the Lord Jesus Christ in every area of his mental, emotional, intellectual and physical being. I pray that as the great conflict looms, that he should prevail over the witchcraft powers that may be operating in his daughter. And that if in fact I prophesied by the Spirit of God that prophecy should come to pass, that President Trump, upon taking the victory, should have an outstanding born-again experience with the Lord Jesus, become even a greater man than he is by the power of the Lord Jesus Christ, and go forward to fulfill everything that the Lord has literally birthed him to be. In Jesus' name. And I bless Ivanka. I don't know, maybe she thinks she's doing the right thing. I don't know. I don't know. So she has a private interest. She has a dual private interest, her own plus her husband's. I want to tell you, I would be shocked to find out that her father is her primary interest. That's what it means when it says a man is going to leave his mother and father and cleave unto his wife. She's a spiritual man in lieu of her wealth. You leave your mother and father and you cleave unto your husband, you see. So, President Trump, I personally have the highest respect for you. And I'm not naive. I see your character flaws. But I see your heart. And I have the highest respect for you. And I love you. And I pray that you never compromise. And the reason that I pray that you never compromise is that it could only, if you do that, it could only result in a loss of faith in yourself and a destruction of the great man that you have become after all of these years of being in business and being a philanthropist. Because I believe you are a philanthropist. I believe the facts say that you are a philanthropist. And a man that cares about the small person. And I think if you investigate him and his history, you'll know that that's true. So don't do anything, President Trump, that will cause you to lose faith in yourself and destroy your own image at the end of your days, however many more they may be, hopefully another 20 years or 30 years.